Let's face it, aging typically ends with aches and pains. But what if it didn't have to? I vote for longevity, and so should you. Welcome to Be Curious, the podcast dedicated to creating awareness about what the human body truly needs to thrive. I'm your host, Gabby, certified integrative health coach, massage therapist, health enthusiast, and proud mom, joined by my very own Prince Charming, Yanni. Curiosity is essential for living fully. It's what ignites the fire within us and fuels our journey towards thriving. Together, we explore this idea by unpacking essential tips, personal stories, and research-backed strategies that empower you to not just survive, but truly thrive. Our goal is to inspire curiosity and empower you to advocate for your own well-being. Remember, our language may not be perfect. After all, nobody's perfect. Now, let's dive into today's episode. All right, welcome to the third episode of the Be Curious podcast, where we continue to try and get you to be curious about your life, about your well-being,
yes,
about health in general, while applying the 3 Fs.
Indeed.
Which are food, fitness, and freedom. But today, we wanted to touch how biohacking touches all of those categories,
yes.
actually. So before we go into what biohacking is, there are 2 types of people in this world, right? The ones that think that they're going to live forever, like they're invincible.
That's what I thought I was at some point.
And those who want to live forever.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've seen a lot of documentaries on many platforms where people like Brian Johnson, Dave Asprey, Gary Brecka, these people are all known to be biohackers with the sole intent of prolonging their lives, making sure that their lives are of quality. And, you know, you could live till 100, but how many years are you disabled or incapable of doing so many things that you're just waiting for that ticking time bomb to finish? Before we start, we'd like to tell you what biohacking is.
Yeah, it's kind of important for them to know what it is, what's the benefit, and how it works.
Yeah. So just so that I don't get this wrong, biohacking is the practice of using various techniques and lifestyle changes to optimize the physical and mental well-being. So really, you're using a tool in order to aid you in your body's natural capacities to have a long, great life.
For sure. And you realize with all of those biohacking, a lot of them, it's kind of going back to the basics, but amplifying that basics to even further enhance everything you could gather around these steps in biohacking.
In optimizing health, basically. Like this is something we touched on the last podcast where we're talking about optimizing, right? Because I've seen a lot, like if you take my father, for instance, he's 68 years old. He's not mentally there anymore. Like there's a lot of parts of him that don't work anymore, but physically
he's in shape.
He's in such great shape that it's a pity that they don't match, right? So whether it's to optimize a part of you that is not optimal anymore, or if it's just to keep the flow going, you don't want any surprises in your life, biohacking is pretty cool.
We kind of proved that also with the food, because we're seeing your dad having such an improvement just by changing his food habits. Because even if we want him to move a bit, it's harder for him sometimes, as well as freedom, not thinking much. But at least with the food, biohacking with supplements and stuff like that, it really helped him to have a better body.
Yeah, so that's one of them. Supplements are considered a biohacking. If you think about it, biohacking is nothing fancy. It's just a word that they put on something that already existed, okay? And it's about how do I optimize what I already have? Well, supplementation, we talked about this, how food doesn't give you enough of the nutrients that you need. So supplements sometimes helps you boosts your natural capacity to heal.
Yeah, and not just to heal, just to keep on going on in life. If we're talking about longevity here, we're talking biohacking to live long. So each factor you're choosing in the foods will affect that
your
lifespan.
outcome.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to touch a little bit on diets. There's this thing that people think social media will love to push one diet because it has a lot of great statistics. The truth is something that I've learned. You can even look it up. Be curious on your own side and look it up. But the truth is that there is no diet that is sustainable. So anyone who goes to a carnivore diet will see results because they
change something.
Major in their food habits. Yeah. Or anyone who goes vegan, anyone who does keto.
There will be a change.
There's going to be a fundamental change because you already know that you're committed to doing something that you and not doing the things that you shouldn't be doing. So there's no matter what diet you apply tomorrow, you'll see results because I mean, let's not be extreme here, but I'm talking about if you follow the fad ones where it's like you have to restrict bad stuff and focus on good things, you're going to see change.
Yeah. But also, go.
But the truth is that like when it comes to biohacking, bio-individuality is what matters the most.
Yeah.
So if you think that just because your neighbor got a result because she was on the keto diet, your fundamental needs might be completely different than hers. And by doing it, you might see results in the beginning, but then eventually your body will be like, hey, give me more of what I actually need. Hello, listen to me, right?
Because biohacking, it's like Gabby says, it's not just to follow the trend of the whatever plan there's out there. It's understanding your body, your biomechanic of your body, understanding it so that way you can provide it with what actually needs to live long, to live efficient. And that is biohacking if you know what you need actually.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's funny, I just said no diets work, but there is this way of eating called functional eating. Mm-hmm. So it's not a diet, let's not confuse it. And it's really about basically checking where you're deficient and making sure that you optimize it in that way. There was this one time where I was like, I had to eat more carbs and I was like, I can't physically eat this many carbs. I'm not ready for it mentally or physically. Well, there's a way to get carbs from other things. Like it's about education, knowing that broccoli has carbs, right? You're not going to put broccoli the same day you're going to put rice. There's two different carbs there and it's going to be extra carbs that your body wasn't expecting, right? So there are steps, there are things that you have to basically do a test in the beginning, find out what you need, and then follow that daily.
Yeah, because it's going to tell you where you're deficient in specific supplement, and everyone is deficient. Gabby, she did a test, I did a test, and we both were deficient in certain vitamins. So the fact that we went with some supplements to fulfill our lack of these specific nutrients, this is biohacking. But we just took care of our body. What do we need? And we fulfill it. So biohacking is just what everyone should do when you think about that.
Yeah, I feel like it's just this fancy word that people are just throwing around, but it's going back to basics.
Yeah, literally.
So this would be considered a biohacking technique. I'm a woman. I have PMS.
Yeah.
A lot of women do. And there is this simple hack where people are like, they think that they're craving junk food. Like how many people have been like, I'll go get ice cream and chips and donuts for my girlfriend, poor her. No, really grab some almonds and some dark chocolate. And okay, I'm not saying a handful because we're on a diet. I'm saying if you're going to binge on something that your body actually needs in that moment, which is dark chocolate for the magnesium benefits and the almonds. Here, let me say this for you right here. Dark chocolate contains magnesium, which can help alleviate PMS symptoms and mood swings.
Wow.
It also improves blood flow and reduces cramps. So there you go. You're welcome. Also, almonds provide healthy fats, vitamin E, and magnesium, all of which can help alleviate PMS discomfort and stabilize mood. It's a no-brainer, right? Who goes gets candy? Yeah. Candy does nothing.
So actually, if you find an almond with dark chocolate on it, it's like a double banger for you guys.
Dark chocolate covered almond. That's 2 in 1, guys.
Yeah.
See?
Make sure it's good though. Make sure there are no added shit in it.
Yeah, there's sugar alcohols. Just stick with dark chocolate and almonds. Okay, you'll be fine. Another one, like for fatigue, I found energy boosting smoothie formula, which is like 1 banana, half a cup of spinach, 1 tablespoon of nut butter, cup of almond milk, and then your banana, right? And then you blend it up.
Yeah.
For fatigue, it's supposed to help you I used to do that every lunch.
Yeah, you did that often, yeah.
That kind of for those people who need that afternoon or that noon coffee, like sometimes I drank like 4 coffees a day. Yeah. I'm Italian, by the way, so drinking coffee is like, it's just for fun. But then eventually my body was just like, oh, why do I have to drink so much coffee? Like I should be addressing the root cause, which
exactly. Why you're not why you're not able to stay awake, to stay like focused, to be productive. Why do you need
ask yourself why. Be
coffee?
Curious.
Why?
Yeah, absolutely. Or there's one for a snack for anxiety or headaches. Okay. And it's a combination of a couple of things.
Okay.
So like, let's say you have 1 cup of chamomile or peppermint tea.
Yeah.
So you have that as like your drink. And then you
sense.
have some crackers with hummus, because what
Protein and
the chamomile tea will calm and reduce anxiety. The grains will provide complex carbohydrates for stable blood sugar. And the protein from the chickpeas will help maintain energy and prevent headache triggers related to low blood sugar. So really, like, those are type of biohacking things that you can use for food.
Yeah, for sure. And for food wise, there's like, if we go in biohacking, you can have specific water that is fulfilled with more oxygen. So even if you do drink water, there is ways you can drink some water that is actually going to give you even more benefit. So that is also and kind of like related to food, because water is like the main thing you've been telling a lot of people, that is like, we need to drink a lot of water.
Yeah, you would think that like just taking the water from the tap is sufficient, but not only does it have like a lot of bad things in it, guys. I don't want to burst your bubble.
Yeah,
so you look into it and then let me know in the comments how you feel about it. But then there's a reason why there's filter systems, and there's a reason why we actually have a built-in filter system, because it actually does more than your Brita. The toxins are in it. So if you just take that out for a minute, there's a lot of people who had to boil water just to make sure that it's drinkable, right?
Yeah.
So let's say that that's its purest form. Well, we have stripped it from all of its benefits because of all the crap that was in it. So now we have to reintroduce oxygen into it,
for sure,
so that it's absorbable through your cells, right?
So that's the big thing, is like everything that we were used to do indirectly today, like just water. A lot of people think, oh, is it very important or not? But if you want to fit in the longevity term that we're today, you want to live longer, so you would rather go hit 100 and feel good when you hit 100 than feel not good. So by doing that for your water and by doing it for your food, you're just diminishing the whatever could come in your body and affect you negatively. So biohacking is making sure that you optimize every aspect of each sections. Yeah,
absolutely. I personally had the privilege of finding a tool called the Lumen, and I remember I had taken away the contraceptive pill. I was in my 30s, not understanding why I couldn't maintain a healthy weight. I was like, oh, I'm exercising all the time. I'm eating very little. It was a disaster. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And Lumen came into my life and was like, lady, you're not eating enough for the amount of exercise you're doing. And I was like, what? And it was the reason why I was gaining weight, because I was
not eating enough.
Because I'm a sporty person. Like, let's say you're not a sporty person, then maybe you have to watch a little bit more about the quantity of what you eat. But for the amount of exercise I was doing, I was like, I'm just going to melt off this weight. But no, my body was upset with me that I wasn't giving it the fuel that it needed to perform. So then I ended up having to have more energy drinks in order to just...
And that was creating its own inflammation by itself in a different way.
Yeah, absolutely. So this Lumen thing, what it does is that it calculates the certain particles in your breath that helps it give it data, real-time data of how you're actually performing in that moment. Now, there's a lot of people who support this tool. You can look it up. I'm going to put the information in the show notes. But I can prove that it worked. And I was like, there were times where I was like, I am not eating that many carbs today. And sure enough, I would push and push to do it. And the more I resisted, the more I was not seeing the results. And you know, let's be clear, like where we were talking about carbs earlier, there's a difference between chips and then
for sure
broccoli and rice and all that stuff.
But to be fair with your Lumen thing, it was really good for Gabby, because that was the tool she needed to be curious about her body and her needs. And when she did figure that out, she doesn't need the tool as much, because now she understands her body. Because even if you use a machine, at some point there's going to be a pattern happening and you're going to know more to yourself. And that's also part of the biohacking, understanding how your body works.
Yeah. And the Lumen, so to be clear, like if you're a person who relies on it, that's fine, to each their own. I eventually developed an intuition. So I now know that when I'm cramping, I have to eat chocolate. Like I automatically go chocolate and almonds.
Yeah.
I don't go like, I want candy. It's just automatically, I already feel what my body needs.
But in the past, you were feeling some craving, but you didn't know what it meant. You
Yeah.
didn't know how biohacking was working. You didn't know you could have that tool. So now because you became curious in any kind of food ways, you figure all those tools that could help you.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other one that we found recently that works really well too is pretty accurate. It's called the Vivu, and it's kind of like a home pregnancy test, but like it's a pee test where it has all the instructions on it, but you test your urine in the morning and it tells you if your protein requirements have been met. Oh, you're low on magnesium. Oh, you're low in vitamin B. Do this today. Eat more of this.
Yeah, it's giving you an idea of how your body is doing now. It might not be like exactly precise. Make sure to follow on the instruction, but it is giving you a great idea of where like your balance is or where your needs are.
So instead of like, let's say you have a little hunch about something, then you can like check with these at-home tests where you have like a score on your phone too. You could check how you've been doing instead of having to go to your doctor's office and losing time on traffic, getting out of work. You can get a great idea of how you're doing just by doing that. So when it comes to food, I mean, we've touched all those bases. I think there's nothing more we can add in regards to that. So if we move on to what kind of fitness protocols people are implementing for biohacking, well, we've mentioned before Dave Asprey and Gary Brecka. And my personal opinion, they're both geniuses in what they do. Dave Asprey created a type of gym where people can have access to all of the technologies. So it's kind of like you just have a membership and you can go, but in Canada,
it doesn't.
There's one in Canada, one or two in Canada, but
it's really limited yet.
Not where we are.
It's new. We still have to think we are from Canada and the US is more advanced than us. So it's going to take time to be every other places, but we can say with experience, it's something great. Right.
But Gary Brecka does things that are probably easier to find, but we'll go through them. So if I go in regards to Dave Asprey is the founder of Bulletproof Coffee. So he's even created his own coffee it's called Danger Coffee now, but it has added minerals, and he makes sure that there's no contamination with mold. So just a little backstory, Dave Asprey is the type of person like us who dealt with chronic illness and chronic pain in a very young, when he was younger. And so his biohacking techniques are in order to kind of give him back youth for the remaining years that he has, right? So that's what it's called Upgrade Labs. And he's even written 5 books. So he, in his labs, in his gyms, he has what's called an AI cheat machine, which stimulates exercise to help fat loss and muscle recovery without strenuous activity. So this is the thing that he really pushes a lot. I can't recall how many times a week he works out, but it's very minimum. It's it's a machine that literally puts it's efficiency. Yeah. It's not for that person who can spend at least 30 minutes a day. That's what we promote because that's sustainable. That's, that's something that everyone can do. Not everyone has this AI cheat machine. And he basically just does minimal time with extreme effort, not kind of like a HIIT, but also going from slow to fast, tricking the body into doing optimal performance. Then he has this thing called the Big Squeeze, uses compression therapy to boost blood circulation and reduce muscle soreness. So it's kind of like a recovery tool. Yeah. Then there's a cryotherapy. So instead of the cold plunge that Gary Brecka really talks about. Yeah,
because they're both good. The thing is, do you prefer being wet or dry?
Yeah. So I don't like to be wet. I don't like to go into water for fun. It's just not for me. Yeah. I love being on the beach, but I don't like going in the water. And so when it comes to cold, on top of that, the cold water just chills me to the bone. Yeah, I think cryotherapy is the alternative where you can...
More expensive. But if you live in Canada...
Yeah.
In the winter.
You don't have, you could just go outside, go to the spa and just go outside. But so he has this place where he has access to this cryotherapy, which other people wouldn't necessarily have.
Yeah.
And it exposes the body to extreme cold to reduce inflammation and speed up recovery. So, there's the PEMF mat too, the pulsed electromagnetic field therapy, which uses electromagnetic fields to promote cellular health and relieve pain. We have this personally. It really works. There's definitely a lot of settings. You can definitely look into that. We can put it in the show notes. But there are certain settings that however you're feeling that day, that's the setting you put, and it's really brilliant. And usually you charge that up with, you try to double that down. If you're going to be lying down on something, you might as well be using a red light therapy where we've put it right above the PEMF mat. So as the light is shining on us, the mat is working under us, and then we flip over. So we do 10 minutes. So you get the full benefit with a 20-minute break of just focusing
relaxing
on you.
And feeling really good. And while that happens, your body is just getting better.
Yep. And there's this other one that I saw. There's a naturopath that we're going to be seeing soon in Laval. And they have also, I think they have a lot of these tools too.
Oh, yeah?
And I saw her show the Vibe plate. So it's a plate that it's almost like a scale that you step on, and then it vibrates, and it's supposed to enhance workouts and recovery through vibration for improved strength and circulation. So it's kind of like your lymphatic system gets all like, it prepares you, all your liquids. It just kind of circulates everything. So, we already have experience with those things. We love them. There's something that we've implemented from the Gary Brecka protocol, which is the oxygen tank, specifically because of your headaches. But it actually really works, like anyone who's trying to optimize as well. It's not just for people who have headaches too.
It really helps too. Like a lot of people don't understand is the oxygen in your body is very important. And if we go in my first podcast, I say this word really often. Why? Because it's all about that. This protocol helps you have more oxygen deeper in your body and to fulfill all the tissues, all the organs that need it. And by drinking it or by doing this specific oxygen. So what I do for me is I go on a air bike and I do a little 10-minute hit. So I do it 3 minutes like normal. I do a 30-second fast. I do that 3 times while having the oxygen mask on me. So that helps me bring the oxygen in and push it further so actually goes in my body.
This is something that I guess it's also a technology that not many people can have access to, but he makes it accessible for everybody on his website. He gives links to companies that you can go look into, obviously, if you have a little bit of money to spend. But that also depends on where you are on your fitness journey and if that's really one of your goals. We're just kind of naming them all, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's about living the longest. It's about biohacking. So when you do know that your body needs always oxygen, you don't need to go to my level, because to me it's about also reducing pain. But if you're optimal in generally, you just have to find a way to do a lot of walks, be in a place with like in the forest, make sure like try to do
clean air.
Yeah, clean air. Bring that oxygen. Do exercise, because you need to do cardio, not just for losing weight, but to have this oxygen inside of you to live longer.
Absolutely. So something else that's more sustainable in Gary Brecka's approach, he just focuses more on things that people can do for free, like breath work. Yeah,
breath work is for the oxygen. So if you follow the breath work, is to bring in and out that oxygen without using a tank.
Yeah. So it's more of a without a workout.
Yeah.
It's about controlled breathing, because a lot of people breathe through their chest when they should be breathing through their stomachs. And you know, I think there's benefits to both breathing through your stomach and breathing through your chest, but I think the point is to be able to do both in a way that optimizes breath.
Yeah.
And so when he does it sitting, he does it, he does a couple of biohacking things. So he puts himself on his balcony, looking at the sun
in the morning
while he's breathing with the air. It's like a combo. You try to like get them all grouped up so that you don't have to do them individually.
You could just wake up when the sun is coming out, you go in your balcony outside, you ground yourself, you meditate, and you let the sun shine, and you do what nature can give you.
So those are all things. Red light, regular sun. The PEMF mat, grounding.
Yeah.
And the breath work, the oxygen tanks. So you could it's all affordable.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you mentioned also the oxygen water.
Yeah.
And another thing, instead of the cryotherapy, well, it's the cold plunge. He I guess they live in Florida. It's hot all the time.
Yeah.
We were discussing this the other day. Like, we live where it's hot and cold, hot and cold. I can't imagine going into a cold plunge. I'm just not created that way.
Me neither.
But I can imagine if you're in a hot temperatures all the time.
Yeah.
I could see how there's so many benefits.
We have maybe 3 years of really...
3 months.
3 months, yeah, sorry. 3 months of summer. That is, the summer's really like okay-ish. And after that, fall or spring, it's
still
you
cold.
have a jacket on, so you don't need to go in cold water.
No, I don't think so. I wouldn't. In regards to fitness, is there anything that we may have missed?
The only thing I can actually say that it's been proven a couple of times for longevity, and I think it's also part of, I would say, biohacking, is to be consistent in your training and not do crazy workout. And simply, we also watch The Blue Zone on Netflix. There's a documentary about how people live long. And it's always been those people who do their walk. It's just the people who's mobile. They don't train. They were never like Mr. Hulk into a big muscle competition or anything, and actually they just focus on moving every day. So they were consistent. They never stopped, because often people, when they get retired, they kind of stop working. But you should actually do something with your body that moves every day to get used to live longer. That's biohacking, but it's not.
Yeah, it's not. It's common sense, actually.
Yeah, it's biohacking is literally go back to your basics, and we also have some tools to make it even better if you want to go max. Yeah,
if you really want to. Like, kind of like lazier if you don't want to spend your whole life doing the same thing over and over, and this is like a cheat code.
Yeah, like grounding is the best example. We live in Canada, it's really cold, so you cannot ground
I can't ground in the winter,
30.
no.
So the fact that we have the PEMF mat helps us a lot to discharge what needs to be done and help our body to
release.
Yeah.
So I love that you brought the Blue Zones up, because it's also about how they live their lives.
Yes.
And it's about living in community, like you mentioned, and that could help someone really go through all of the freedom aspect of living well.
Yeah.
So Dave Asprey has this place that we looked into for you at some point, because mentally it was really hard.
Yeah.
And I was surprised to find out that Dave Asprey has a place called 40 Years of Zen, where you spend, I think, 10 days at a private residence where there's someone taking care of your food. So that's not the focus. It's not about food.
Yeah.
It's really about your mental well-being, where he has, again, the technology to I think he starts out with neurofeedback. So for people who don't know, neurofeedback is technology that provides real-time feedback and brain activity and helping optimize brainwave patterns.
Yeah.
So there's no way to find out what your brain is actually doing if you don't have these type of tools, right? You'd have to see a specific professional in order like we did, right? So he has this technology there where he sees, okay, certain parts of your brain are inactive or too active. And then he has these guided meditations, personalized coaching, where you can, where you go over what you need in those parts of the brain, so that by the end of the 10 days, not only have you understood the foundation, but you've already started doing the exercises. So it becomes easier to bring back home with you to continue while you're at home. There's something else that he actually encourages a lot. Probably controversial, but I'm going to give a perspective before I even bring it up. There's a lot of people who have lived trauma in their lives or have PTSD. And I have looked into many people who either have a psychologist, psychiatrist, whatever they need, to talk it through, to get down to, the root cause of how they can get over a situation, right? Or the trauma, or just getting over, finding coping mechanisms, okay? So that they can live a normal-ish life.
Yeah.
Well, I have also researched by reading the book, The Body Keeps the Score. For some people, just reliving a certain situation could bring even more damage to the body, because it's already trying to it's already trying to get over it, but by reliving it, it's too real again and again. It's like reliving it the same time, the same way.
So the body will react the same way.
Right. So there's some people like that. And for those people, Dave Asprey and many other well-known wellness people, they consider ayahuasca to be a very good method to get over certain things that you're blocked in your life, in your thought process. So like things that you can't get over, that you really just can't get over on your own.
You cannot do the work yourself, so you need some kind of support and help from a third party.
Yeah, so
it's fair.
Exactly. So that's considered biohacking as well, because you're using this tool to facilitate being able to be in that meditative state, or you can retrospect, you can be with yourself. And let's also be clear, I'm not condoning doing psychedelics, especially on your own. No. This would be a guided thing where people sign up and have retreats for this, where they go through a whole healing process it's changed their lives. So that's something also to think about when it comes to freedom.
Indeed. And you talked about meditation, and I'm just going to say that meditation itself is in a way biohacking. Why? Because when you meditate, you kind of control the way the mind will or will not think. So by doing this, you're doing something that you're aware that's going to be good for your body in the long term by diminishing those cortisol level in your body because of stress. As an example, for me in the biohacking that I started myself a couple of months ago is in the morning when I do wake up, after my mat that I do, I go in my room where it's most sunny. So that way I can actually have a good look outside, and I start doing some kind of meditation. And I go to love frequencies. So the entire morning I just think about the things that I love in my life, and I'm trying to direct the negative thoughts in a different way so it doesn't like come in my head. And when it comes, I'm like, I push it away by adding another love thought. So this is biohacking because I'm doing something with my mind that wants to come out with these thoughts. I'm saying, no, that's the way we're going to do it. So it will make a difference in your body, and your body will react to it at the end of the day. And if you do that when you wake up, it's a really great beginning.
Yeah. And there is a difference between ignoring bad thoughts and trying to focus on good thoughts. Okay. Exactly. So nobody's saying that the negative thoughts you should never think about, because that's a big mistake. Yeah. Okay. You need to deal with what's going on inside, or it's going to show up a different way. But what he's talking about is getting over a very difficult situation where you're kind of counting all of the bad things that have happened. Yeah. But there are so many other great things
that came in your life as well.
So in his situation where we still have our home. A lot of people don't have their home. So this is shifting to the love frequency. We still have our home. Guess what? After all this, my wife is still here by my side.
Yeah. And helping me a lot to go through those
Right. So this is the type of example where it's like you turn that negative to a positive.
Yeah.
And
like
it's
you
so
said,
powerful.
and like you need to sit down at some point and look about the bad thoughts that happen in your life, but you don't have to do it the first hour in the day.
Yeah.
You could do it midday, late day. Yeah, today I had a great day. You know what? Don't have anything planned tonight. I'll go try to think about what's really happening and deal with it.
Or you can schedule times, like either with someone you need to speak to or your bestie. That's what besties are for.
Yeah, like expressing yourself to someone that they will maybe acknowledge what you're saying or just listen to you and not necessarily judge it, but just be open-minded and just be an ear out to comfort someone. So all of these little tricks are very important because that will affect a lot your longevity in the long term. Yeah. If you always have bad thoughts, I never seen any person in the blue zone or anyone who's really, really old, 100 and plus, who's in top shape, they're not negative. You speak to those people, none of them are negative. They're moving, they're talking with their friends, they're enjoying life, like with little things. And these are the people who hit the highest in their ages.
Yeah, I love that so much. There's also something I wanted to bring up. Certain situations, so when we're talking about dealing with your negative emotions, I personally am inspired by something my husband did. There was another moment in his life where he was kind of contemplating what he wanted to do, who he wanted to be, and he was very, very determined to go to China and put himself through vigorous training and discipline in order to really understand what he's capable of and decide through that who he wanted to be. And I would even argue that that's like it takes a very brave person to do that. But
I wanted to go in China when I was like 20 for just living the life by myself with no one else who could like implement any judgment or anything at all. And when you're unsure about what you want to do, for me it was like, let's go at the end of the world and let's go in a place that I always love. It was martial arts, and I went into the Shaolin Temple, and I did there like a couple of months, and it was really a big experience because you also see another culture, how they live, and sometimes that itself brings you an awakening that okay, now I get realization for sure. And yeah, thank you for that. It was it was really not easy to go in a place that no one speaks your language, but it was unique and an amazing experience.
Yeah, you came back different. We had met pretty much right before he left, and then had a long distance relationship for not very long because
I came back earlier for other reasons, but you were also one of the main reasons I came back.
Come on now. So it brings things to perspective, let's just say. So I think that when it comes to, freedom, besides meditation, besides mindfulness, I think sleep optimization is really important, because if you don't sleep and repair properly, your mind, I have seen, even if we just go as simple as my father who suffers from cognitive decline, I can tell when he had a disrupted sleep the night before.
Yeah.
He doesn't remember a lot of things. He's unable to formulate phrases. Even in children, if we deprive them of sleep, they'll be irritable, they'll be uncooperative. So just that alone is a very good biohacking tool.
And just to give you guys an example, and I think that came to my mind, like me and one of my friends, we were always, even you and I, always going to bed around 12, midnight, sometime 1 o'clock, even if we had to wake up, let's say at 7 or 8 or later on. But how sleep is important is also when you do that sleep.
Yeah, no, in my 20s, there's a complete abuse of it, just because I think there's like this disconnect where you're like a kid and you have to follow rules, and then you're like 20, you don't have to follow rules. And it doesn't help that everything's open in the night, and everyone's thriving in the night because they feel like they're doing something naughty. But like the truth is, you could do that all through the day.
Yeah, because I think it would be better for someone to go to bed around like 11ish, wake up around 6:30, 7, do your 7-hour sleep, because
8 hours for women.
Yeah, 8, 7 for men's that we can do. But the thing is, you have to be consistent. And if you, for whatever reason, you start changing this behavior, your body's gonna go kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And you're gonna need like 12 hours sleep. Like one of my friends sleeps like forever. But if we would sleep earlier and wake up earlier and make a pattern out of it, it's going to be easier in the long term.
Yeah, I think it has to do with your body trusting you, because if you do it every day, then it'll give you a pass here and there, right? But if you're just so erratic, it's going to want to adapt, and it's just confused. It just doesn't know when you're going to need. It's just going to think, so far I haven't gotten any sleep, so I'm just going to shut off everything and make him sleep for 12 hours,
The last hour, we're always fighting to stay awake when we should sleep. And instead, if you would take that hour and wake up an hour earlier, go on a PEMF mat, or just go grounding outside, go in the sun, have good low frequency thoughts, this itself will change a lot.
Yeah, just by doing these type of, you have to be committed. I think you have to want to care about.
You want to live longer.
Optimizing. That's the truth. But since I started doing that, I actually don't ever need, like I already stopped drinking coffee, but I was doing decaf, or I was, I like my matcha, I like my green tea, but like I don't even need it.
Yeah.
I'm just doing it because it'd be fun to have a little bit more boost, so I need a little kick.
But I do remember even me in the days I was sometimes very tired to sleep and take naps. I do not take naps anymore.
That's
I only get... after I eat, I have a certain problem, so that make my legs very numb. So I have to go lay down. I'm gonna have to relax, not because of my body is tired because of my issue, but I realized that by doing this protocol, my other moments that I want to take naps in the day just vanished, and I'm sleeping less than I used to sleep.
Yeah.
But it's the timing when I sleep that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, it's circadian rhythm.
Yep.
Okay. So I think we kind of went over everything that we needed to go over. This is the time where we do our facts and our would you rather. So
I'll go first.
Okay.
Did you know that studies shows incorporating whole foods into your diet can lead a 25% improvement in energy levels and cognitive function? This simple nutritional biohacking technique can significantly boost your overall well-being without major lifestyle changes.
That's so true. I have actually coached people that said, I don't want to work out. I'm not gonna. And I'm like, okay, well, then food becomes a bigger factor. Then you just have to double down on that. And it's 25%. So think about that for a second. That's like, a quarter. Yeah. Wow, that's insane.
Someone like me who always told you I want to live the longest that I can, now seeing it to that perspective makes a huge difference into how much I want to really do it.
Yeah, and it's easy. It's easier than...
It's easier than you can expect.
Yeah. So I have a would you rather. I have a would you rather.
Sure.
Okay. Would you rather rely on high-tech sleep tracker that gives you detailed insights about your sleep patterns and suggests improvements, or follow a traditional herbal remedy routine to enhance your sleep naturally without technology?
I would go with the herbs simply because I think on the long term or anywhere I go, I can bring my herbs with me versus technology might be harder to bring. But if we go with herbs, you're not going to be as precise as if you go with certain technology. But I think if you follow the basics, you should be okay. I would go herbs for me.
I think it depends on your curiosity. I think that if you're a curious person that wants to track
for sure
everything, then it's cool to have technology. It's also the in thing, technology. But like, I think let's say everything goes to shit. I think that there's no more electricity. Well, remedies. I'll take the herbs.
Yeah. And I think it's good to know that because this is Mother Nature is giving you the remedy that you can use for your own body. That's biohacking. Actually, it makes no sense that you do what nature does for you and it's biohacking. It should be the basics.
Yeah. So that concludes our episode for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope that there's some information in here that you didn't know. Hopefully we educated you on something or broadened your curiosity in regards to biohacking and optimizing your wellness. Yanni will obviously agree with me when I say that we're people who we follow these accounts. We've applied what they've said and we've concluded that they work.
We actually our own experiences through our dramatic pains or lifestyle that happened to us, but by applying all of this, we're just normal people who are telling you what works for us. So hopefully that works for you. It's not going to apply to everyone, but it will apply to everyone if you understand your own body, like we're explaining.
Right. So the whole point is to cultivate curiosity, and we hope to see you on our next podcast. If there's any questions that you have, please share, and we would love to address them.
Thank you very much, everyone.